Welcome to Recom's Powerful Podcast, where we discuss new topics and products. I'm Jeff Deutschman, your product moderator. From a quarter watt up to 1,000 watts, whether the power is required for an industrial setting, a new IoT gadget, or a high-end medical-grade device, Recom has you covered. On this episode, we'll be discussing the topic of isolation. Now, Peter, we have both isolated and non-isolated converters, correct?
Yes, you got that right, Jeff.
And what makes a converter isolated?
So our isolated converters are built with an internal transformer. This is called galvanic isolation. It physically separates the input from the output.
So what's the benefit of isolation?
Yeah, so isolation breaks the ground loop. This means instead of having a single ground in a circuit, there are now two. Having separated grounds will help reduce the noise in the electrical system.
And that's also very important for safety, correct?
Yeah, good point, Jeff. The transformer is also the key component when it comes to safety. It helps to prevent shock and also to reduce fire hazards.
Fantastic. Are there different levels of isolation customers can use? I imagine that a medical product would have a much stricter requirement than an industrial control board.
Yep, exactly. There are three main classes of isolation: functional, basic, and reinforced.
Okay, well, let's start with the first one. What can you tell us about functional isolation?
So for functional isolation, the input and output windings are wound directly on top of each other. So the only real separation between the two is the lacquer coating on the wire.
Is that really enough separation?
Yes, and remember, this isn't for a safety critical application. Think about a control board, for example, where using an isolated converter can help reduce the noise.
Okay. What kind of isolation voltages can we achieve?
So although these transformers are the most compact type, they can still get isolation up to 4 kilovolts DC.
Great. Next up would be basic isolation. What can you tell us about this type?
So basic isolation is a step up from functional. The input and output wires are not wound directly on top of each other. Instead, they're separated with a physical barrier, such as an insulating film.
Sounds like that extra distance between the transformer windings increases the safety?
Correct. This transformer construction offers single fault protection and therefore requires a larger space compared to the functional transformer.
Okay, fantastic. All that's left now is reinforced isolation. What can you tell us about this type?
So this is the most robust form of isolation. With reinforced, the input and output windings are separated by at least two physical barriers and have a large creepage and clearance.
And that's just the measurement between the input and the output, right?
Exactly. Creepage is the distance measured on a surface, and clearance is the distance measured through the air.
Wow, okay. So reinforced isolation is by far the safest, right?
Yes, they are an excellent choice for medical applications due to their double fault protection. We currently have medical products which can achieve a 10 kilovolt DC isolation rating.
Definitely an important component to include in a medical application. Thank you for sharing, Peter. Well, that wraps it up for another episode of Recom's Powerful Podcast. Be sure to listen next time when we delve into the pros of another Recom topic. As always, please contact your regional sales manager for any samples or pricing. Our applications engineers are always happy to assist you with any technical questions or requests. You can email them at techsupport@recom-power.com. Until then, have a great day, and always remember,
Recom powers your products.